Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to play medical detectives for a bit to uncover a mystery that might literally be happening right inside your own body. We're looking at what experts are calling a silent epidemic, one that sneakily disguises itself as just everyday stress, getting older, or maybe a bad night's sleep. If you've been dealing with, unexplained fatigue, subtle little aches, or a mood that just refuses to lift, well, the culprit might be a critical nutritional gap that is surprisingly easy to miss. Okay, let's dive into this.
$1 billion. Just let that sink in for a second. An estimated 1 billion people worldwide are walking around right now with a vitamin D deficiency. Think about the sheer scale of that. We're talking about a massive chunk of the global population just going about their daily lives operating at way less than 100%. And because the symptoms are so vague and kind of overlap with a dozen other things, people can literally go for years without ever realizing their levels are dangerously low.
Now, before we get into the actual signs of this deficiency, we've got to completely shatter a really common misconception. Ready for it? Despite the name, vitamin D is actually much more of a hormone than a traditional vitamin. Once it's produced by your skin in response to sunlight, it goes to work actively influencing the expression of hundreds of genes. It's absolutely crucial for your body to absorb calcium and phosphorus to build strong bones. But honestly, its reach goes way beyond just your skeleton. It actively modulates your immune system, it regulates your mood by helping pump out serotonin, and it even helps manage your cardiovascular health. It's a real heavy lifter.
Section 1. The 10 Clues. Decoding your body's subtle signals.
All right, as we run through these, I highly encourage you to mentally check off any you might be experiencing yourself. Let's start with your body's physical framework, the skeletal and muscular clues. Remember how vitamin D is essential for calcium absorption? Well, a lack of it means your bones simply can't mineralize properly. In adults, this causes something called osteomalacia. Think of it as a deep, dull, hard-to-pinpoint ache in your bones, especially in the spine, legs, and hips. Actually, a classic clinical sign is if you press your shin bone and it feels tender. You might also notice persistent lower back pain or just general muscle weakness and cramping. Why? Because vitamin D receptors are embedded right in your muscle tissue. Over the long haul, this forces your body to basically steal calcium from your own bones, leading to reduced bone density and a scary high risk of osteoporosis and stress fractures. And because bone loss is incredibly sneaky, often accelerating over time without you even noticing until, boom, a fracture actually happens, screening is absolutely vital. The source material notes that you can use the free age calculator on Tools Hub to track your age-related health milestones. It's a great way to know exactly when it's time to schedule routine bone density and vitamin D screenings with your doctor.
So let's escalate things and see how this builds from physical ailments to profound mental and cognitive impacts. If you're out there sleeping a full 8 hours but still waking up with this bone-deep chronic fatigue, pay close attention. Vitamin D plays a direct role in mitochondrial function, basically the tiny energy factories inside your cells. When levels drop, your cells literally struggle to produce energy. On top of that, because vitamin D receptors are scattered all throughout the brain, low levels are consistently linked to clinical depression, severe anxiety, major brain fog, and seasonal affective disorder, the classic winter blues. And in older adults, a deficiency is even tied to a higher risk of cognitive decline and neurodegenerative conditions like dementia.
And this brilliantly illustrates the regenerative power of vitamin D as we look at the immune and healing clues. Think of vitamin D as the commanding officer for your immune system's frontline soldiers, the T cells. When your levels tank, your defenses drop with them, making you super susceptible to catching frequent colds, respiratory infections, and the flu. You'll also see this deficiency show up in how your body repairs itself. If you've noticed slow wound healing after a tiny cut or a surgery, or even if you're spotting unusual hair loss in the shower drain, that's a major clue right there. Vitamin D controls inflammation in damaged tissue and plays a massive role in the normal cycling of your hair follicles.
To show you just how scientifically proven this immune connection really is, take a look at this striking statistic. Research published in the British Medical Journal found that simply supplementing vitamin D reduced the risk of acute respiratory infections by 12% across the board. But check out that second part. It reduced the risk by as much as 70% in people who were severely deficient. That is just a massive, profound impact on your body's ability to fight off illness.
Section 2. The usual suspects. Who is most vulnerable?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is seeing how many different ways our modern lives and our own biology actually interfere with vitamin D synthesis. Sure, this deficiency can strike anyone, but if you're an office worker or stuck on the night shift, your limited sun exposure makes you an obvious target. Age plays a huge factor too. As we cross 65, our skin becomes way less efficient at making the vitamin.
For people with darker skin tones, the melanin that beautifully protects against UV damage also naturally reduces the skin's ability to produce vitamin D from sunlight. Also, because it's a fat-soluble vitamin, in individuals with obesity, it can literally get trapped in fat tissue, reducing its availability in the bloodstream. And of course, diet matters. Vegans and vegetarians are highly susceptible simply because the best dietary sources are predominantly animal-based.
Section 3. Cracking the case. Diagnosis and safe solutions.
All right, to officially crack this case, the absolute only reliable way to confirm a deficiency is through a simple, widely available blood test called the 25-hydroxyvitamin D test. When you get your lab results back, here are the metrics you're looking for. Anything below 12 nanograms per milliliter is considered a severe deficiency. Your sweet spot, the sufficient range where your body has absolutely everything it needs to thrive, is between 20 and 50 nanograms per milliliter. Anything well above 50 starts edging into excess, which, trust me, we definitely want to avoid.
Now, depending on where you live or what lab processes your blood work, your results might come back in totally different measurement systems, like nanomoles per liter instead of nanograms per milliliter. The source recommends utilizing the free unit converter on Tools Hub to easily translate and compare your lab results across different medical systems. It gives you a really straightforward way to track your personal health data accurately without doing all the complicated math yourself.
Once you actually know your numbers, fixing the issue is usually an empowering, super clear three-step progression. Step 1 is getting sensible sun exposure. We're talking 10 to 30 minutes of midday sun on your face and arms a few times a week, obviously adjusting for your local climate and skin tone. Step 2 is boosting your diet with vitamin D-rich foods. Think fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, or tuna, plus egg yolks and UV-exposed mushrooms. And Step 3 is supplementation. Doctors typically recommend vitamin D3 since it's the most effectively utilized form. Oh, and here's a fantastic pro tip. Always try to pair your D3 supplement with vitamin K2. K2 acts almost like a traffic cop, making sure all that extra calcium your body's now absorbing gets directed straight into your bones rather than building up dangerously in your arteries.
As a quick aside, while you're actively increasing your intake of fatty fish, egg yolks, and other fortified foods, the source article points out you can use the Tools Hub calorie calculator to estimate your daily nutritional needs. This just ensures you seamlessly balance these new vitamin D-rich foods right into your overall personal health goals. So the crucial point is this. Please, whatever you do, do not attempt to self-diagnose or start chugging massive therapeutic doses on your own. While this explainer gives us some fantastic educational insight, you have to remember that a lot of these symptoms overlap with other serious medical conditions. Plus, popping extreme amounts of vitamin D can lead to vitamin D toxicity. While it's rare, it causes elevated calcium levels that can literally damage your heart and kidneys. You absolutely must get tested and take action under the safe guidance of your healthcare provider. Your body is constantly trying to communicate with you. That unexplained exhaustion, the lingering winter blues, that aching lower back, these aren't just random inconveniences. They're messages. Vitamin D deficiency is highly treatable, and a simple blood test alongside a few targeted lifestyle adjustments can utterly transform how you feel every single day. So I leave you with this provocative thought to chew on. Are you truly listening to the signals your body is sending? Don't wait for a bone fracture or a severe infection to force the issue. Evaluate your health, consult your doctor, and take proactive action today.